NBC's exit polls suggested that when voters went to the polls, democracy and, bigger than that, economy were on their minds the most. Economy was the primary concern for President-elect Trump voters. On one hand, that's not surprising. In elections, the economy is king. On the other hand, this economy has been confusing for a few years now. So what's going to happen when we add President-elect Trump and his proposed policies back into the mix? Kent explains what experts are keeping their eye on. Kent?
Yeah, Jana, President Trump has promised sweeping changes to tariffs and immigration and big cuts to taxes and federal agencies, which could all impact the economy in different ways. And how it impacts you probably depends on how you feel about this economy in the first place.
While it's clear that economic concerns helped swing this election, understanding how requires perspective.
One thing that's interesting about the economy this year is that the economy sent some mixed signals, and voters really reacted through a very partisan lens.
St. Olaf political science professor Chris Chapp says the exit polls his class conducted in Congressional District 2 found that 55% of Trump voters listed inflation and economy as the most important issue, compared to just 18% of Harris voters. And while Harris did narrowly carry that district, Chapp says the economy is one likely explanation for why she far underperformed Democrats Angie Craig and Amy Klobuchar.
In our survey, close to 10% of Klobuchar voters also voted for Trump.
And 45% of those split-ticket voters said the economy was the top issue.
It doesn't matter where you go. High prices are hitting people in the face.
Chris Farrell, senior economics contributor for Marketplace, says that's not to say things haven't been getting better, which is one reason why he says Wall Street rallied so quickly today.
President-elect Trump is inheriting a good economy. You have a low unemployment rate. The economy grew at a 2.7% annual rate in the third quarter. The inflation rate is coming down. And then the expectation is there's going to be less regulation and lower taxes. So you're looking at pretty good cash flow. So that's what I think we're going to be seeing in the stock market.
But he says the real test will be what comes next.
I do believe that we will have tariff increases. I don't know exactly what the percentage is going to be, but Trump has been consistent throughout the campaign and actually back when he was president, very consistent that he likes tariffs.
Once that plan emerges, he anticipates a different kind of inflation fight between Trump and the Federal Reserve over interest rate cuts. And then there are all the other cuts Trump promised on the campaign trail along his so-called Secretary of Cost Cutting, Elon Musk.
My expectation, this is what I'm going to watch, is Musk is going to be involved. And what does this really mean if he gets involved in cutting the budget? How will that emerge? How deep will the cuts be? Who's going to get impacted by those cuts? So follow that closely, because once we start making cuts, it can have a real impact on people's ordinary lives.
Now, Farrell points out that many of Trump's economic plans will also, of course, hinge on control of Congress and how much pushback he might receive. And don't expect everything to happen right away. For example, he said it took nearly a year after his election in 2016 for his tariffs on Chinese imports to begin. Jana.
Yeah, I think it's hard for people to understand. You're coming off this momentum of an election, and now it's just sit and wait. Inauguration isn't even until January 20th, and it'll take a lot of time after that.
Yeah, and he said, keep in mind, again, the economy right now, the indicators are strong, so there's not really a huge urgency because he's got some wind at his back, as they say.
All right, Kent, thanks so much.